Warriors of Blood and Thorns. This week for Warhammer previews, plenty of Age of Sigmar. We have Daughters of Cain getting their new battle tome, and they have the Gamer Edition as well, which comes in a smaller paperback format with some data cards, and then you have your more traditional hardback format here. Then there are Blood Hags, which are, I believe, a brand new unit for the Daughters of Cain. These use pole arms and builds 10 to a kit with one standard bearer. These are more armored than the usual Daughters of Cain. Also not half snake, so pretty interesting to see how they'll fit into the lineup and how popular they will be. Up next, we have the Shrine of Dark Tribute, which has either a chalice of swirling blood or wisping smoke, depending on if you wish it to show Morathi Cain or Morai Heg. I believe this will be a terrain piece as opposed to a unit, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see in the new book. Looks pretty cool, though. I like the blade sticking off of it. Fits very well, I think, in the aesthetic for the Daughters of Cain. A little less snakes than I would have expected. Still pretty cool looking. There's the Melusai Iron Scale. I believe this has been released previously, but it may have been in a combined set. Or it's perhaps being repackaged. No, it was, says here. How convenient. Previously only available in the Spearhead, but is now available on its own. So if you were waiting to pick this up, the Melusai Iron Scale is now available on its own. Pretty cool model. I like the snakes in the head here, and I like the snake motifs a lot. And of course, this is the Naga elf. They have a Regiment of Renown, which I believe is only while supplies last. So if this is something you're interested in, you'll want to pick up the Crimson Lash before it's gone. The Crimson Lash consists of one high gladiatrix leading 10 Sisters of Slaughter. A nice supplement to your Daughters of Cain army, or you could use it as a Regiment of Renown for other armies in Grand Alliance order. Up next, the Daughters of Cain are also getting a new spearhead, the Cainite Shadow Coven. Now this does include one of the old Warcry teams, the Cainite Shadow Stalkers. It also includes a Hag Queen, Bloodrack Medusa, and 10 Sisters of Slaughter. And of course the Slaughter Queen on Cauldron of Blood. Their nice big centerpiece model. I think that'll be a nice new spearhead for the Daughters of Cain. They are also getting a battle force, the Scathborn Coven, also available only while stocks last, but this comes with Morathi herself. You get the full kit, you get the big snake version and elf version of Morathi. You also get 5 Kinarai Heart Renders, which can be built as Kinarai Life Takers, as well as 10 Blood Sisters, which can also be built as Blood Stalkers. So very interesting. And then, of course, you get the Nagas, which, as it mentions, can be built as Blood Stalkers or Blood Sisters. And I believe that difference is just the bow versus spear. Nice additional battle force if you don't already have Morathi. If you have Morathi, this is probably where most of the value for the set will be. So something to keep in mind if you are considering this, or if you're considering starting the Daughters of Cain, this might be a good entry point. Of course, there's also the Daughters of Cain War Scroll cards and dice. I don't normally pick either of these up, but they are here if you are interested. And then for the Thorn part of this week, we get the Battle Tome Sylvaneth, also available with the Gamer Edition, that smaller paperback format, cards, and then of course the more traditional hardback version. There is the Grove Guardian, which is a really cool looking model. You get some nice beetles on the bottom, this sort of flowering tree, and then the tender there, the Grove Guardian. So that's a cool model. I think this is relatively new as well. There's the Branch Witch, which is pretty cool. Also has this sort of worm creature, and then the Dryad with Scythe. This was previously only available in the Spearhead Sylvaneth, but is now standalone. So if you've picked up the Spearheads, you probably already have this. But if you are new to the Sylvaneth or already had some Sylvaneth and didn't pick up the Spearhead, this is now available on its own. Up next, we have the Regiment of Renown for Sylvaneth, which has the Branch Witch we just mentioned, also available in this kit or alone. and also includes a Warcry team for the Sylvaneth, the Twist Wield, which are these other dryads you see here. So an interesting regiment of renown there. So the Sylvaneth are also getting a new spearhead, the Spitewing Flight. Very flyer heavy. This spearhead will come with an Arch Revenant, 5 Gossamed Archers, 3 Spite Rider Lancers, and 3 Revenant Seekers. If you like the flying insects, this might be a good thing to pick up, or if you're interested in Sylvaneth, this will also be a good thing to pick up. Sylvaneth are also getting a battle force, the Strongroot Grove, which is very treeman heavy. You get 3 Tree Lords, as well as 6 Kurnoth Hunters, which can be built with great swords, great scythes, or great bows. You can also build the Tree Lords as the Tree Lord Ancient, or as the Spirit of Durthu, if you wish for the named character. This battle force is, of course, only available while stocks last. They also get War Scrolls and dice, and we also get a few new titles from the Black Library. We get the Queen of the Rose Throne, the Shade of Cain, Malineth Witchblade novel, as well as some new Warhammer Plus content, the 3rd and final installment of Penitence. The Arena of Death has a 4-way 5-character showdown. And there's the Mech Boys Workshop, as well as some weapons and war gear, all on Warhammer Plus. Additionally, later this week, there are the Adepticon previews, March 25th at 8 p.m. Central or 1 a.m. GMT. And the various other times are listed here as well. And there'll be news for Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer the Horus Heresy, Kill Team, and Underworlds. Also noting that the Scathborn Coven is delayed in Australia and New Zealand, and that is the battle force for the Daughters of Cain. So some delays there if you are in Australia or New Zealand. And that is all the pre-orders for this coming week. These will launch on Saturday, the 28th for order, and then be released on the 11th of April. Unless you're in Australia and New Zealand looking for the battle force for the Daughters of Cain, that will be delayed. So that's all I've got for this week. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of these pre-orders in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next one.